rumor that you're actually Anne Murray.
Gee, I've heard that one too. That was one. What were some of the other ones I've had? There's been great ones. Yeah, Anne Murray. Why not, eh?
Yeah. Are you ever gonna reveal yourself?
Well, no. I mean, it's too much fun. The great thing about my stage persona is on stage I'm 2 feet taller and 20 years younger.
In a tense courtroom, Judge Foozle sentences cutthroat Nash the Slash to a most unpleasant form of necking.
I was mostly inspired by krautrock. And just so people don't get the wrong idea that this is some kind of derogatory term or politically incorrect. Krautrock, even in Germany, that's what they call it. And krautrock was something that came along in the 70s. It's reflected in bands such as Kraftwerk, Harmonia Deluxe, Neu, and these German bands had a particular style. And the other thing about them, a lot of them used drum machine. And drum machines in the mid-70s were banned in North America, according to the American Federation of Musicians. It's not that you couldn't buy one, but you were not allowed to use one in a union concert hall. And they eventually got rid of that law, but it was meant to so it wouldn't take the job of a drummer. But of course, drum machines back then were so chintzy and crappy sounding. I mean, I always called it my Papachichi machine, because that's what it sounded like. I was put it on the Papachichi, Papachichi, Papachichi. But if you stick it through a fuzz box and an echo, you end up with some really heavy sound, and that's what I would use. So I was really into fuzzes and distorted sonics, and that's what made my sound what it was. I was once described in a journalist in England once referred to my music as punk classical, and I always liked that term. I think it really summed up what I do. I was sort of hanging with a lot of prog rockers and stuff like that. Prog rock, a lot of people got into because it was more, as a player, as a musician, it was more elaborate to play. You're, a little taste of jazz or something a little more experimental. But I always loved simple music as well. And I've always maintained the first power chords ever written was Beethoven. I mean, you got Beethoven, you got The Who. I mean, that's what power chords are all about. At the time of Beethoven, you had ornamental little twits like Mozart doing all this counterpoint fancy. He was the prog rocker of the era. Beethoven wrote power chords, and that's what I loved. So when the punk scene came along, it was just like, yeah, this is like taking The Who and scrunching it down into a 2-minute song. And throw out a few more chords. Don't use as many chords. Just keep it down to 3 or 4 chords. The best gig would be summer of '81, opening at C&E Stadium for The Who, Heart, J. Giles Band, and myself. Teenage Head were supposed to be the opening act. So Teenage Head were given the gig, and then Teenage Head said, we want more money. This is going to be a big one. I forget what they asked for. And I happened to be in the office of the agency at the time this was going down. And so they were getting all upset, and Dave Bluestein was on the phone to Michael Cole, going, Teenage Head are being jerks. They want too much money. What are we going to do? And I piped up, I said, guys, I'm a huge Who fan. I've already got my ticket for the show, but I'll do it for nothing. And Mike goes, well, can't do it for nothing, Nash, but we'll pay you scale. So I got paid $125, and The Who made $300,000. But I got the gig. I played in front of 70,000 people. It was the biggest concert of the year in all of North America, and you can't get any better than that.
Were you not supposed to play with Teenage Head at the last Pogo?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
And what happened?
I believe I broke my hand before the gig. I'll explain how it happened too. It's really silly. I was in my home studio. I used to live upstairs this place called the Roxy Theater, and the Roxy, my apartment was, because I was on the same level as the projection booth, my apartment was poured concrete walls. I'd set my electric mandolin on a stool I think I'd gone to go to the washroom or something like that. Came back into the studio and I knocked the mandolin off the stool and the neck snapped. And I went, oh shit, and I punched the wall because I was so pissed off. And I broke my hand, the bone, you can still see the lump right there. So the irony here is, it took my hand 6 weeks to heal. My mandolin was fixed in 5 days. Well, the old adage still stands true. Play your music from the heart. The trouble with the Canadian music industry is it's nothing more than a puppet of the American industry. And so there's very few, there's no agents or managers in Toronto that I know of that can develop a band from the ground up. Everybody wants to be a pop star. Everybody wants to formulate whatever they're doing to fit what the industry is already doing. And Toronto is notoriously bad with developing artists. One of the key things for Toronto artists, get the hell out of town. Go to New York, go to London, go to Berlin, but don't stay in Toronto. So play from the heart, be good at it, and then get the hell out of town.